Hey guys, this is Q with QLovesHair. Healthy hair don't care. That's the topic of today. So what I've decided to do is to break it down into about 4 videos. Part 1 is going to talk about the actual hair structure. Now you might be thinking, why do I need to know that? Well, here's the thing. If you know what the hair is, how it's made, and what it's made of, you'll know what you need to put in the hair to actually benefit the hair. Companies are making millions and billions of dollars off of you, and without that information, you don't know if you should buy that or not. And a lot of the times, you shouldn't buy it. So we're going to cover 5 things, and the first thing we're going to talk about is how the hair grows. Well, did you know that hair grows from under the scalp or under the skin? There's a little hair bulb, and you have these cells that, grow on top of each other, and the more they grow, they eventually push through the skin. Once it pushes through the skin, the cells die because the nucleus dies once it pushes through the skin. So it's basically dead cells that you're looking at. In that hair bulb we were talking about, there is one source of food, one source. There's only one thing that feeds your hair, and it is your blood. Blood vessels are directly connected to that hair bulb, and it feeds the hair. So what that tells me is one of the best ways to keep your hair healthy starts inside of you. A lot of times if you're consistently experiencing breakage, or if you are having patches of hair coming out, that is usually an internal thing. And the first thing that I recommend any client that's having these types of issues is to go see their doctor, because you never know. And listen, this is not a game. I've had people that were very sick. I've had people that were pregnant. I've had people with different disorders, all because they went to the doctor because their hair was telling them something is wrong. And something else you need to know, your hair is not a priority to your body. Your organs are a priority, your nerves are a priority, your function, the function of your body, those are the priority. Your hair is last on the list. So in all honesty, by the time we're seeing issues on the outside of your hair, they can be pretty severe internally. So you just need to know that. It's a good thing to know. Problems in the hair usually indicate problems on the inside. So if your blood work is wonderful, your hair is going to grow at its very best. It's going to come through the skin nice and strong, and that will give it a chance against the environment, the sun, the wind, hard water, and it'll also give it a chance when you decide to go chemical crazy, also known as chemically dependent. Your diet, your water intake, your protein intake, these are things that really help you. Also exercising 3 to 4 times a week, about 30 minutes, very beneficial. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but it is what it is. It's just the truth. So the second thing we're going to talk about are the layers of hair. Now you see that little strand, you would think it's just that. But if you put it under a microscope, you will see that hair has 3 layers. It has the outermost layer, the middle layer, and the innermost layer. The outer layer is called the cuticle of the hair, and that's just overlapping scales. They just overlap each other all the way to the ends of the hair. They're nice and compact and tight, or at least they should be, and they are the protective barrier of the hair. The middle layer is called the cortex of the hair. The cortex is the bulkiest part of the hair. It's biggest. It holds pretty much all the protein, all the strength. And if you screw over your cortex, I can tell you what your hair is going to look like. I'll actually put up some pictures what your hair will look like if you have damaged your cuticle or your cortex. The last part of the hair is called the medulla. It's the innermost part of the hair. And with all the scientific breakthroughs we've had, no one can tell us the purpose of the medulla. So if your hair is fine, or if you are a blonde head, a natural blonde, if you are a natural blonde, there's a good chance you don't have a medulla. But it's okay, because hey, you don't know what it does anyway, and it doesn't seem to really affect your hair at all. Okay, so now you know the 3 layers of the hair. So let's talk about what the hair is basically made of. The hair is basically made of hard keratin. Now your skin is made of keratin as well, but it's soft keratin. Your nails, your hair, and even feathers are made of hard keratin. So if you have feathers, also made of hard keratin, don't worry about it. And keratin is basically amino acids. Now amino acids are just proteins, and so these proteins are linked together and it forms this keratin, and that's basically what your hair is made of. There are 19 amino acids found in the hair. They have all these different names, and the main one is cysteine. I honestly cannot quote to you the other 18, and I'm not ashamed of that. So you have this keratin. That's what's in the hair. That's what gives the hair its strength. That's what gives the hair its vibrancy. You know, it's really the bulk, the main part of the hair. And if you start breaking down your amino acids and your keratin, you're going to have some problems. Now, we talked about the amino acids. The amino acids are basically on the outside of the hair, and they form a chain in the shape of a helix. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's kind of like a ladder, but just think about the outside of the ladder is like this. Now in the middle, just like a ladder, you have these little rungs or bonds. They're really bonds. And so there are 3 types of bonds, and we'll talk about that. Well, how about now? We'll talk about the bonds right now. So let's talk about those 3 types of bonds. Your first type of bond is what we call a salt bond. A salt bond is fairly weak, and it can be broken by a fluctuating pH. So your acidity or your alkalinity of a product, depending on what you use, you can break the salt bonds in the hair, and they account for about 33% of the hair, but they are fairly weak and they're easily broken. You can also reform those bonds by balancing the pH in the hair. So when you see that on a product, balances pH, that's not a bad thing if it really does what it says, because it's going to help you to reform your salt bonds in the hair. The second bond in the hair that you can break, also 33% of the hair, are called hydrogen bonds. Hydrogen bonds are basically water, hydro, think water. These are also fairly weak, and they are easily broken. Hydrogen bonds are broken every time you shampoo your hair. So those bonds can be broken by water or by heat. So be careful when you're going heat crazy. You know, we talked about that last week. They can be reformed by simply drying and cooling the hair. Now, since those bonds are broken when the hair is wet, that's why you hear people say your hair is the weakest when it's wet. Absolutely true, because you've broken all the hydrogen bonds in the hair, and they won't reform until you dry or cool the hair, okay? Now, the final bonds that we're going to talk about that are found in the hair are called disulfide bonds. Your disulfide bonds are strong. They are resilient, and the only way to break disulfide bonds are chemicals. So your colors, your relaxers, your permanent waves, or your perms, if you will, that's what breaks your disulfide bonds. Now those little suckers are strong and they really hold on, but it does require a chemical to break them down. It also requires a neutralizer to reform them in the shape that you want. So that's why if you receive a perm service and your hair is straight, it's now curly. If you receive a relaxer service and your hair was naturally curly, it's now straight, because those bonds have been reshaped or reformed. However, chemicals can break your disulfide bonds. If you want to repair that damage, and a lot of times it's quite crucial, you're going to have to go into your bond rebuilders. There is only one proven bond rebuilder that actually relinks disulfide bonds, and that is Olaplex. So it's definitely, again, something to check out. Now the last thing we're going to talk about are the 5 elements found in the hair, and there's a little acronym that you can use to remind yourself of this if you want to remind yourself of this later, and that's CONS. COHNS. That is simply carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. Those are the 5 elements that actually make up the hair as a whole. You need all 5. Now carbon does carry the weight of it. There's 51% of carbon in your hair strands. There's 16% of oxygen, 6% of hydrogen, 17% nitrogen, and 5% sulfur. But you need all of that. That is basically it. That's the structure of the hair. That's how the hair is made up. And with this information, now when you go read packages or when you go read what this company is trying to sell you, Look for these words. So we're gonna do a little quiz. Okay, if you're ready, just say when. Just let me know when you're ready. Okay. All right, your first question. What feeds the hair? What feeds the hair? Okay, if you said blood, you are absolutely correct. You should give yourself a high five, some dap, peace, whatever. Good job. Blood feeds the hair. That is it. Okay, question number 2. What are the 3 layers of the hair? What are the 3 layers of the hair? Come on, I have faith in you. I know you can do it. Oh, I'm biased. Okay, if you said the cuticle layer, the cortex layer, and the medulla, you are doing awesome. Those are the 3 layers of the hair. What type of hair does not have a medulla? What type of hair does not have a medulla? Okay, if you said blonde or fine hair, you need to be sitting in this chair. That's awesome. That's correct. The medulla. Fine hair or blonde hair tends to not have a medulla. What is the protein called that your nails and hair are made of? And I'll give you a hint. I said it was hard or soft, and don't say tacos. What's the name of the protein that your hair is made of? Okay, if you said hard keratin, congratulations, you're right again. What are the 3 bonds that are found in the hair? The 3 bonds that link the amino acids together, what are the 3 bonds? That's right, your salt bonds, your hydrogen bonds, and your disulfide bonds. Oh my goodness. Okay, and the last and final question, remember the acronym. What are the 5 elements found in the hair? The 5 elements found in the hair. Remember, COHNS. Put that hand out there like me. Okay, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. Okay, so just send me your information and I will send you your IMA almost licensed individual certificate. I'm not gonna do that. I hope you did great on the quiz. And if not, just go back through it and watch it again. But just know, this is the information that you need. This is the first building block that you need. And next week, we are going to talk about protein, all things protein. Protein is over 90% of your hair. So that is the most vital thing you have to keep balanced in the hair. Do I need a protein treatment? How often should I do it? Why is my hair breaking off when I use protein? We'll talk about all that stuff next week. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Have a great week. You deserve it. This is Q with Q Loves Hair telling you to take care of what you love. Until next time. Bye. You got everything.